I am going to share 7 prosperity proclamations with you. You may reword them if a variation feels better. You may eventually choose to replace them with your own, perhaps with more specific programming. There are several factors to consider when creating affirmations. First, they must be alive messages, not wishes. I want more money is a wish, not an affirmation. It must be a positive statement, personalized, to the point, easy to understand, and preferably one that will conjure up pictures in your mind. It must be action-oriented, with a feeling of movement, of aliveness. The Prosperity Proclamations. 1. A lot more money is flowing into my life. I deserve it and will use it for my good and that of others. One way of ensuring that this programming is received at a deep emotional level is to keep track of your emotional reactions to it. Repeat the sentences 10 times to yourself and stop and see whether you're absorbing it, whether it feels right at a gut level. Take a deep breath and see whether you can feel the proclamation click into your subconscious. If you have a negative reaction, don't repress it, bring it out. Bring it out into the open. Take a piece of paper and write out the first prosperity proclamation 20 times, leaving room for emotional comments. Then decide what your reactions are, and write them in even if they are negative. For example, a lot more money is flowing into my life. I deserve it and will use it for my good and that of others. I don't know. What did I ever do to deserve this money? A lot more money is flowing into my life. I deserve it and will use it for my good and that of others. Come on now, where's all this wonderful money coming from? If you write your emotional response to each of the 20 repetitions, you'll find that your reaction will start to get more positive. You may want to write your response after writing each positive statement, rather than waiting until you write all 7 proclamations. The prosperity proclamations must be as believable as possible. Most of them are money messages that explain themselves. From now on, I will give some explanation of the particular choice of words. For instance, in the first proclamation, a lot more money is flowing into my life. I deserve it and will use it for my good and that of others. The first sentence evokes an image of money moving toward you. This can be fun to visualize as you say or write the proclamation. Imagine the money coming to you in a river of bills. Part of believing you can become prosperous is believing that a lot more money is coming to you. I deserve it is something you have to feel to accept it openly without guilt or apology, and will use it for my good and that of others takes it a step further and allows you to conjure up images of how you'll use the money, giving yourself and others pleasure. 2. I have an unlimited number of valuable ideas in my consciousness. This is absolutely true, and the sooner you believe it, the sooner you can start bringing those ideas up to the surface. I remember one woman in a workshop who complained she wasn't creative. Her husband supported this view because he did some writing and liked to think of himself as the only creative person in the family. I had her make up a proclamation, just suggesting that it should be a sentence that, if she believed it, would change her attitude about her own creativity. She came up with, I am more creative than I ever believed possible. At first she found this hard to believe, but she was persistent and kept it up. She had always wanted to work with her hands, so she tried macrame. She told me she didn't even feel the proclamation working, but one day she just sort of knew it was true. Her macrame work in just 4 months got good enough for her to sell in a local flea market. Then an interior designer saw her work and hired her to create original macrame pieces to blend in with his interiors. Within a year, she was making a substantial income from her creativity. Even I was surprised at how fast it worked for her, But that's just one of many examples of the power of the mind. You might picture with this affirmation ideas crowding together in your subconscious, just bursting to get through to your conscious mind. 3. I love what I do, and that love brings me all the money I want. Now, this is one of the core principles of MoneyLove, coming up in detail in the chapter entitled Work Love. This could put you in touch with some dissatisfaction over what you do to earn a living, but repeating it, even under these circumstances, can have a potent effect on your life and your work. It's also valuable to understand that the loving energy you put into your work is what provides you with a large income. 4. Every dollar I circulate enriches the economy and comes back to me multiplied. This prosperity proclamation is a powerhouse. It can change your entire attitude towards spending money. You'll understand it more clearly after reading Chapter 3, and the money goes round and round, but it doesn't have to make complete sense for it to begin to work on your subconscious. Abstract thoughts are usually the most powerful, since they allow your own mind to interpret and adapt the idea to your individual needs. This proclamation also makes economic sense, since you do put any money you spend into the economy, and the richer the economy, the more money there is to buy your goods, services, and ideas. 5. Every dollar I bank is accumulated wealth for my personal pleasure. This one will make more sense after you read Chapter 4, Prosperity Banking. Basically, it's a way to change your attitude about saving money, so you have a more direct contact with your money in the bank. A lot of people are programmed to put money away for emergencies, such as a sudden illness. This associates money with pain in your subconscious and is a good way to keep yourself in poverty consciousness. 6. No matter what I do, my financial worth increases every day. This relates to 2 chapters, Work Love and Prosperity Banking. In the first, it relates to the fact that as a growing creative person, you produce more valuable ideas each day and so become a more valuable person. In terms of banking, this is true because of interest building up in even a modest bank account. And all of this does happen no matter what you do. 7. All my investments are profitable either in money or valuable experience. This is related naturally to Chapter 5, Prosperity Investing. Many successful investors have related to me tales of how they learned priceless lessons when they lost money on specific investments. In the long term, the sensible investor will gain. The short-term losses that can occur are merely guiding lights pointing out the right direction. One of the investments I lost money on provided the spark that led to one of the valuable concepts I talk about in the investing chapter. But you go into each investment of time, money, or energy with the expectation that you will somehow come out ahead. This means also having an attitude of, if I don't get what I want, it's because something better is waiting for me. If you check out your personal history, you'll find that this has usually been true. An easy way to absorb your 7 prosperity proclamations is to record them and play them back whenever possible. I suggest taping each one 10 times. You might even choose to repeat them along with the recording. Modify them as you please, and even come up with your own when this feels right. A couple of additional hints. When saying them, you might take a deep breath and feel your wealth increasing as you inhale and all your negative programming leaving your consciousness as you exhale. This can be a valuable visualization for you throughout the day, with or without your proclamations. You might say to yourself, with each breath I am increasing my wealth and eliminating my poverty consciousness. Another useful habit is to say silently to each person you meet, you deserve wealth and the fulfillment of your fondest dreams. Time and time again, I've seen it proved that the more you are willing to help others prosper, the more prosperous you will become yourself. You have probably already had some emotional feelings that acted as prosperity proclamations. Have you ever set out to do something and said to yourself, I can do this? That's a way you had of convincing yourself, and it usually worked. I remember one woman saying to me, I always make money on the stock market. That too was a prosperity proclamation, and it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. As you see the power of these positive statements, realize that the negative statements you've been saying to yourself and others have just as much power. Just this acknowledgement of their potential for harm will help you eliminate them from your life. Saying, he doesn't deserve that job, I hope he doesn't get it, is a poverty proclamation of the highest order, and it will bounce back into your own subconscious. If for no other reason, avoid these statements to avoid damaging yourself. You are the best equipped person in all the world to program your own brain. Giving up this privilege to others is one of the most damaging things you can do for yourself. Using the prosperity proclamations will help you take charge of your own creative process. You might picture yourself in front of this sophisticated giant computer, programming in important information with confidence, with joy, and with the certainty that the information will result in positive action.